Hello YouTube, Size17 here, but you can just call me Travis, and welcome back to another collection update. Like always, I don't have anything else to say, so let's just jump into the music. In the background, we are listening to, I don't know if we've listened to, I feel like maybe I've listened to it in the background before, but maybe not. Regardless, this is the Omniclasm by Lich King, thrash band from the US. This is their, I think, 5th full-length album out this year. I really think it's really good. It'll almost definitely probably be somewhere near the somewhere on the list of the top 30 of the year. Lich King are great, underrated band in my opinion. I think a lot of people don't take them seriously, which I understand and also don't understand. Just awesome riffs. Just awesome riffs. That's why I love Lich King. Awesome riffs. So yeah, that's in the background. Lich King, Omniclasm. And speaking of Lich King, I guess their tour bus or whatever they've been traveling with has been having problems throughout their tour, and got an email notification this week they were doing a promotion for all their merch in their store, 15% off, to kind of help pay for repairs and shit like that. So as someone who has always been a Lich King supporter, I was like, alright, let's jump on and see what we can do. And I end up picking up, as I slowly build my patches, picked up a Lich King patch, the logo there, and then also the Omniclasm shirt, which is interesting. It's how much more orange it is than the red of the album, but whatever. Was kind of cool to pick up some Lich King merch. Didn't really have anything other than some CDs, so that was kind of cool. So good luck to them. Hopefully people pitched in and they were able to get some funds to fix their stuff and continue the touring. Anyway, I got some stuff to show, so yeah, let's jump into showing that. First up, I kind of alluded to wanting to get this video or two ago when Leatherheart come back. On here they had a cover Black Sabbath's Danger Zone, which I didn't at first know was a Black Sabbath song, but I was like, I need to check that album out, so I picked it up. That's 7th Star. Yeah, this is, if you've been watching any of my videos, you know, it's been a while now since I picked one up, but I pretty much always stayed in the Ozzy era of Black Sabbath, and you know, was eventually pushed by actually Eli. Dark Hyms of the Cold North, I think is the name. Well, you should be watching his stuff if you don't. Anyway, he did a 2-parter on Black Sabbath, and it kind of got me pumped up to kind of maybe move on, move beyond what I had been listening to. And anyway, I kind of stopped, you know, for whatever reason, and glad to have been jolted back into looking into them. I have Mob Rules and Born Again on the way, which are the 2 albums that are in between what I already have and this one. Anyway, enough babbling about albums other than this one. This album is awesome. This already is one of my favorite Black Sabbath albums. It is interesting to know, or maybe interesting, I think it is, that this is the 2nd album in a row that was not intended to be a Black Sabbath album, but the labels pressured them into using the Black Sabbath name on the release. Born Again was originally intended to be just a different band altogether, and like I said, the label forced them to put the Black Sabbath moniker on it. And then the same thing with this 7th Star release. This was intended to be a Tony Iommi self-titled album, but again, the label forced them to put the Black Sabbath label on there, although I do know it says Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi. Although I do notice also in the CD here, the composer is, I don't know if that's focusing or not, I can't tell. But Anthony Iommi is what it says. Anyway, this is the first album that features only Tony Iommi as the lone original member of the band. We have Glenn Hughes on vocals, who he played bass on a few albums with Deep Purple. I'm not very knowledgeable about Deep Purple, but he played a bass on like 3 albums in like the 70s with them. I think he did vocals too, actually, for Deep Purple. Not like leads, but like a lot of singing. I don't know. Like I said, don't know much about Deep Purple. Also, we have Eric Singer, who drummer for Kiss. So kind of, I wouldn't say a super group or anything, but you know, we got some notables. But yeah, like I said, this album is really great. Danger Zone, like I said, if it wasn't for Symptom of the Universe, that Danger Zone might already be my favorite Black Sabbath song. That riff is just fantastic. Just a great song. In for the Kill to lead it off, and then also Turn to Stone, the number 3. Just ripping songs. Probably the most shreddy solos that I've ever heard by Tony Iommi. Just really rocking. I like the gutsiness of going for a ballad on track 2 with No Stranger to Love, although Glenn Hughes really goes for it on that song, so yeah, it really works for me. And actually, Glenn Hughes in general, his energy really, I think, works awesomely on this record. Then we got 7 Star and Heart Like a Wheel. Both of them are kind of more, especially Heart Like a Wheel, more bluesy, with some, you know, cool little instrumental solo passages, which I always love from Tony Iommi. And then another ballad at the end, In Memory, which is 2.5 minutes, so whatever, it's not even that big of a deal. It's sort of hard to win me over with ballads, but like I said, No Stranger to Love, that one worked for me. But yeah, 7 Star, awesome record from Black Sabbath. I'm really excited to continue moving on because, you know, this was the first one where I really went into it knowing that, you know, they weren't just a traditional doom metal band. Because like I said, I had really only listened to the Ozzy era albums, and so in my head, you know, they were a traditional doom act, and I didn't really realize how much they had moved into, you know, traditional heavy metal and stuff like that. So really excited to continue on. Like I said, Mob Rules and Born Again are on the way, so I'll talk about those when they come in. But this one is right now. This is one of my favorite Black Sabbath albums. Even just having received it just yesterday? No, maybe Friday. One of those 2 days. Just over the last 2 days, this album is awesome. I can't speak highly enough about this record. Don't feel like I ever really hear people mention this album when it comes to Black Sabbath. Maybe that has to do with the fact that it's sort of not really a Black Sabbath album, but regardless, it does have the name, so I think it counts. I do think Eli had this near the top, or at least in his upper half, if I remember correctly. I should actually go back and watch those videos. I'll link them actually below. You should watch them. But yeah, anyway, I'll move on now. But 7 Star, Black Sabbath, awesome. All right, next up, I wanted to start filling in some holes. This is a band that I should be less weak on, and that's this is Darkthrone. This is their 2016 release, Arctic Thunder. This is actually only the 6th album I have by Darkthrone, which, I mean, 6 isn't a bad number, but with an artist who has such a plethora of albums over their discography, 6 kind of is weak. I have the first 4 black metal albums, and then Circle the Wagons, and now this one, which the fact that this album's great. I thought Circle the Wagons was awesome. I really enjoy the kind of like black and rock and roll or whatever it is that they are doing on both of those releases. On both of these releases, I need to check out the Underground Resistance, which came out in between, because I imagine that it is similar of style and quality, and I'll probably like it as much as I like these 2 albums. This came out, if I didn't say, last year. I really like this album cover. I like the fact, I like how dark it. Like, I like the fire. But like, you can sort of. It's still really dark. Obviously, the Darkthrone logo is one of the best ever. But anyway, yeah. This album is, you know, like I said, I'm really into the blackened rock and roll sound that they are doing on this release. I always like when they note who's writing the songs. Generally speaking, I like Fenrir's songs better on this release. Although Inbred Vermin is one of my more favorite tracks on here, and that's a Nocturnal Culto song, so whatever. But Tundra Leech, that's another good one. Yeah, just in general, I really like this album. Not much to really say about it. Like I said, I need to check out the Underground Resistance because I imagine that I will like it as well. Yeah, Peaceville Records, Darkthrone, Arctic Thunder. Yeah. This release was kind of a surprise. I didn't expect it to come in. It came in from like an Amazon order, and I took it out and was like, I don't remember ordering this. But then I had a little note, and actually it was a gift for my wife, so thank you, Tamara. She is currently on vacation on a New Kids on the Block cruise. Hope she's having fun. But anyway, the album is Between the Fog and Shadows by Vardan. It had been a long time since I had ordered a Vardan album, and I guess Tamara felt that I needed to get my act together because he's released like 5 albums this year, and if I'm going to catch up, I need to start catching up. This came out in 2015. Not much in terms of the liner notes on this one. Oh, was this one picture? I didn't even notice until now. If you're not familiar with this band, Vardan is a one-man black metal band out of Italy, certainly in the DSBM style. And, this is more par for the course of Vardan, melancholic guitar riffs, tortured vocals. Only 3 tracks on this one, but they're 11, 15, and 18 minutes long. So it's actually a longer album for Vardan than usual. He usually is around the 35-minute mark. But I generally like longer Vardan songs, so that worked out for me. This actually is a really great album. More Bound Cult, local. Yeah, not much to really say about this one. If you've heard me talk about Vardan before, like I said, DSBM, just, really depressive stuff, really, yeah, really angsty stuff. So yeah, if you've listened to Vardan before, this definitely is worthy of your time. This is actually one of 9 albums that he released in 2015 because he's an insane person. That's just, wow, that's dedication to the craft. Because, like I said, I've generally enjoyed every single one of those releases. I have this is either the 4th or the 5th one that I have from 2015. And actually, Verses from Ancient Times is actually probably my favorite one that he has from that year. But yeah, just prolific guy, Vardan, awesome black metal. Definitely check it out if you're into DSBM style stuff. And yeah, again, thanks, Tamara. Okay, next one up is actually it's a live album. I generally speaking don't like live albums at all. I have very few. In fact, if I counted, I would be surprised if I have over 10 live albums. But anyway, I'll show it before I sort of get into it. This is Live at the Gorge 0506 from Pearl Jam. If you're not familiar with Pearl Jam, they are a alternative band from Seattle, Washington. A grunge, I guess, if you want to throw that moniker out there. This is probably my longest tenured favorite band. I'm a big Pearl Jam fan. I think they're great. I think they're just a cool, great alternative rock band. Just solid material. Just great songs. I enjoy the solos. As I always state. I think just really great stuff. What prompted me to even find out about this album at all was, I don't go to many live shows. I'm not really a big fan of live shows either. But I did go see a Pearl Jam many years ago in 2006. And maybe, I don't know if this is well known or not, but Pearl Jam releases tons of live albums. Sometimes like every show on a tour, even in just like an individual basis. So one day, I'm not even sure what prompted me to look, but I was like, oh, I wonder if they have a live release of the specific show that I went to. And lo and behold, actually is part of this. It's obviously not every single live album gets, or live show that they do gets a special release like this, but it just happened to be that the one that I went to was included. So I thought that was really awesome. This has 3 different shows, one from September 1st, 2005, and then 2 that took place back-to-back. I only went to one of them, but July 22nd, 2006, and then the one that I went to, July 23rd, 2006. All 3 took place at the Gorge, which, if you're not familiar with, if you're not from Washington or maybe surrounding Idaho, Oregon areas, why would you know? Is an awesome venue to see a concert at. It is located in Gorge, Washington, Gorge being the city, at the Gorge Amphitheater, which is overlooking. I mean, this is sort of a look of the area on the cover here, or just Google the Gorge and just go to images and just be like, whoa, that's an amazing place to see a concert, and it is. Overlooking the Columbia River. Wow, just awesome place to see a show. I've never been disappointed seeing a show there. Saw Metallica there. Did I see Metallica there? I'm pretty sure I saw Metallica there. I definitely saw Tom Petty there. I'm actually kind of surprised how many shows I've seen at the Gorge. Sometimes I don't like going to live shows, but like I said, beautiful venue, so that's probably part of the aspect of it that makes it cool. But anyway, cool. I actually have listened. I listened to all 3 of these once a piece. Found out that a friend of mine actually went to the 2005 show, so that was kind of cool. The first one, not too much going on with the actual material itself. Just slide cases. 3 discs for this show, because this show is almost 3 hours, just over 3 hours long. So lucky them. This one I won't. I'll go into more of comparing set lists on the other 2 because they happen to back-to-back days. So it's kind of cool to take a look at that. Yeah, this is the second one. The other 2 are just 2 discs. This set was just over 2.5 hours long. Again, it's got the slide cases going on here. And then the one from the show that I went to on July 23rd, 2006. Again, slide discs. So anyway, it's kind of cool too, since they happened in back-to-back days, which is something I think they've done before at the Gorge. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that they have done that before. But anyway, it's cool to see what songs they play both sets and which songs that they play only once. Like for instance, the night before they got Black, but we got Jeremy. They didn't get Jeremy at all, which is kind of crazy that Jeremy wouldn't play both nights. It's kind of cool to see, they got Go, which is one of my favorite songs for them. We didn't get Go, but we got Why Go. We got Rats Garden, but they got Last Kiss. We got the cover of Crazy Mary. It's kind of they started. They have interesting. The songs that are done on both set lists seem to be songs near the beginning, like Corduroy and Worldwide Suicide. I don't know. It's cool to compare. It's cool to compare the set lists, see which songs are on both and which ones only made it one time. These shows were in 2006. Like I said, that was just after they released their self-titled album, which I think that one and the 2 albums that came after that both did kind of in my mind, a new era of Pearl Jam releases, and I think all 3 of those are great. I pretty much think all of their albums are good. Some of the ones in the middle are a little more questionable. But nothing's really bad, just not great material. But outside of that, outside of maybe just 1-2 albums, maybe at the most, all the stuff's awesome in my opinion. I really like Pearl Jam a lot. Definitely my favorite band to come out of that grunge era, whatever you want to say, you know, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Nirvana, whatever. Pearl Jam, easily my favorite, and I'm glad they're still putting out music. I think it's pretty awesome. But yeah, super awesome to get. You know, like I said, I'm not really into live albums at all, really. And it's cool to, you know, if I'm going to get a live album, it's cool to actually get one of the specific show that I went to. And actually listening to it, it is kind of, I'm surprised by how much I remember him, the stuff that he said. I remember him saying it, you know, now that I've heard it again. So pretty cool to get that. So yeah, Live at the Gorge, 0506, Pearl Jam. A cool little, what's it, 7-disc set here going on. Pretty cool to add to the collection. Yeah, like I said, Google The Gorge, go to images, and be in awe by how awesome it would be to see a show at the Gorge. Alright, one more to show you, and this is pretty damn cool. I had been talking, commenting with Life Eternal. He had mentioned in my 100 subscribers contest video, which if you've not entered yet, do it if you want some stuff. Pretty easy. All you gotta do is answer some questions. Anyway, he had mentioned a band called Mos Eisley, and I had jokes back to him that, oh, is it a band that sounds like the Modal Nodes? And it had prompted me to see if there was such a thing that I could buy that was that. And because the world is fantastic, I was able to find it. So this is Figrin Dan and the Modal Nodes with it's a single, Cantina Band and Cantina Band 2. If you're not familiar with Figrin Dan and the Modal Nodes, that is not surprising, but if you can maybe see it here, it is a band that you can see in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. They play in the Mos Eisley Cantina Bar. This is Figrin Dan right here, playing the clue horn. They are Bith, that's their race, which I think Bith is also the planet they're from. I couldn't tell you what the names of the other members are, but Figrin Dan, that's him right there. Masterful musician, clue horn player. Anyway, I'm sure I'll leave links, but I'm sure if you've watched Star Wars, you'll recognize the tune. This is what the disc looks like, because it's it's only got 2 tracks on it. They didn't have to have a lot of space. So they got some cool stuff with the art, and actually now that I remember, it actually has the names of the other members. Of the band, which I thought was a nice little touch. But yeah, so anyway, when I found out that was a thing I could buy, I was like, okay, obviously I want it. And it wasn't very expensive, so that made the choice even easier. Opens up, obviously composed by John Williams, but you know, for the sake of fun, it's Figrin Dan and the Modal Nodes, because that's more fun. I also found out that there is a release similar of the Max Rebo band, which is, that's Max Rebo there. The song that is from Return of the Jedi, the remastered one, the extra song that wasn't in the original that like totally sucks. I do kind of want it still, just because for funsies, but that one's less on the priority list. But anyway, really, excited to add this to the collection. As you probably know from watching me at all, I always love novelty, and so this was a no-brainer. Figrin Dan in the Modal Nodes with their single for Cantina Band and Cantina Band 2. Obviously, again, composed by John Williams. All right, that's it. All I got for this week. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you are familiar with any of these releases, let me know what you think of them. And as always, if you got something else to tell me that has nothing to do with what I've talked about today, that's fine too. Yeah, otherwise,